Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a complicated stack of ideas and distill them into the most powerful, actionable knowledge, tailored just for you.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a really uncompromising leadership philosophy. It's called extreme ownership.
And this framework was developed by two former U.S. Navy SEAL officers, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. They're veterans of the Battle of Ramadi.
Exactly. And they took these, incredibly intense combat lessons and figured out how to apply them to the business world.
So our mission today is to really get under the hood of this mindset, because it's more than just, accountability.
Oh, it's way more. It's the foundational belief that leadership is the single most important factor in whether a team wins or loses, period.
If you're the leader, every single failure lands on your shoulders.
That's the core of it. This whole philosophy is about building high-performance teams. And it doesn't matter if you're in a firefight or scaling a startup, it forces you out of any kind of victim mentality.
Okay, let's unpack that. So, extreme ownership. It means the leader owns everything that impacts the mission.
Everything. The sources are so clear on this. You can't blame your team. You can't blame your gear. You definitely can't blame the market.
If it's in your world, it's your responsibility.
And to really understand the weight of that, we have to look at what they call the ultimate failure in the military. Friendly fire.
Or blue on blue. Fratricide, which they say is just completely unacceptable, no excuses.
Right. And the book describes this devastating incident where, a whole cascade of mistakes led to this failure.
It was a laundry list of errors, wasn't it? Altered plans, notifications that never got sent, fuzzy communication, timelines getting pushed.
A total mess. And in the debrief, it would have been so easy to point fingers. You could blame the operator who missed a radio call or the unit that changed the plan.
But the commander didn't do that.
No, he stood up in front of everyone, and after that long list of mistakes that other people made, he just said, "There is only one person to blame for this. Me. I am the commander. I am responsible for the entire operation."
Wow. But wait, isn't there a risk there? I mean, how do you take all the blame without just demoralizing the people who actually made the mistakes down the line?
That's the key part. He's not saying his people didn't mess up. He's saying the system he put in place failed. The training he oversaw wasn't good enough. The communication plan he approved was flawed.
Ah, so it's about the structure, not just the individual error.
Exactly. And when the team sees that humility, that the top guy is focused on fixing the process, not just assigning blame, respect, it skyrockets. They know he has their back.
So that's the separator. Ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
If you're driven by ego, you can't admit failure because it implies you're not perfect.
And you see that exact same thing in the business world. There's this story about a VP of manufacturing. He had this, grand plan to cut production costs.
Looked great on a PowerPoint, I'm sure.
Of course. But over a full year, the execution was a complete failure.
And when he had to report to the board, he had, a myriad of excuses.
Oh, yeah. He blamed the distribution managers. He blamed the team for being resistant to change. He even used that old classic.
Let me guess. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You got it. It was everyone's fault but his, until one of the consultants just laid it out for him, point blank.
What did he say?
He just said, You are the reason this plan failed. Because you failed to lead. You didn't force execution.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
But it's true. So once he finally owned it, that's when things started to change. The team stops looking for scapegoats and starts looking for solutions.
And that foundation sets us up perfectly for the next big idea, which is like the ultimate leadership litmus test. The principle that there are no bad teams, only bad leaders.
Oof. That had to be a tough pill to swallow in SEAL training. The book illustrates this with the BAO Hell Week example, right? The boat cruise.
Yeah, so during Hell Week, they put these guys in 7-man boat crews, and they have to carry these super heavy, awkward, inflatable boats and IBS everywhere. It's just designed for pure misery and teamwork.
And there were these two specific crews. Boat Crew Sissek was just crushing it.
Totally. They were always winning the races, working together. They even got these little moments of rest as a reward. They had a really strong leader.
And then there's Boat Crew Sixth, the total opposite.
Dead last. Every single time, yelling at each other, cursing.
Yeah.
They were just 7 miserable individuals, and their leader was just focused on his own pain, his own exhaustion.
So the instructors see this perfect contrast, and they decide to run an experiment.
They swap the leaders. They take the leader from the winning crew and put him in charge of the losing crew, and vice versa.
And everything else stays the same? Same exhausted guys, same heavy boat, same cold water.
The only variable is the leader, and the result of the very next race.
Boat Crew 6, the losers, they won. They came in first.
First place. It's just incredible. It proves that a single person, the leader, completely turned around the performance of that whole team.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, what happened to the original winning team, Crew the Second, when they got the bad leader?
They started losing, which is the other side of the lesson. Their earlier success wasn't just because they were a bunch of highly motivated guys. It was a direct reflection of their leadership.
The leader's attitude and expectation of success really does set the tone for everyone.
If the leader doesn't believe it's possible, the team won't even try.
So if the team's performance is the external test, the next piece has to be the internal battle, winning the war within. And that comes down to two things: checking your ego and actually believing in the mission.
Ego is just so destructive. It clouds your judgment. It stops you from being able to honestly assess yourself, which you have to do to get better.
And that military example from Ramadi is terrifying. You had these elite special ops units who thought they were a cut above everyone else.
Total cockiness. Their ego was so big they refused to share detailed plans with the Army units operating right next to them.
They just give them a vague, like, 1,000-meter grid location or something.
Yeah, which in a dense city is basically useless. It's unbelievably dangerous. That arrogance created a huge risk of friendly fire, all because a leader wouldn't check his ego and just coordinate properly.
The mission always comes second when ego comes first.
And the flip side of that is belief. Your people have to believe in the mission, the plan, and you, but they can't believe if they don't understand. And that means you have to explain the why, not just the what.
Right, like that business example with the sales compensation plan. The mid-level managers hated it.
They were totally against it. It cut pay for low producers, and they just saw the downside. They were afraid of losing their best salespeople to competitors. They didn't get the strategy behind it.
And they didn't ask the CEO for clarification because they were scared of looking dumb.
Pretty much. They respected him so much they didn't want to question a decision that seemed obvious to the top brass.
So the breakthrough only happened when the CEO finally explained the why.
Exactly. He explained it wasn't just a cost-cutting move. It was a strategy to build a smaller, more elite, more efficient sales force. That would actually increase volume and reduce massive overhead costs at the same time.
And as soon as they understood the strategic goal, their whole attitude changed.
Right. And that's where extreme ownership goes up the chain of command. If you're a leader and you don't get a decision from your boss, it's your job to ask questions until you do, so you can pass that belief on to your team.
Okay, so humility and understanding win the internal battle. That leads us to the external battle of execution, the laws of combat. Let's start with prioritize and execute.
So when everything is going wrong at once, which it always does, the direction SEALs use is simple and powerful. Relax, look around, make a call.
Instead of panicking and trying to do 5 things at once, which means you fail at all 5.
Right. A leader has to immediately identify the single highest priority and focus everyone on that one thing. You have to avoid what they call target fixation.
Focusing on a problem that was important 5 minutes ago, but isn't the biggest threat anymore.
Precisely. And we see this with a CEO who realized he was chasing dozens of initiatives at once. He stepped back, looked around, and realized the highest priority was managing the activity of his frontline sales team.
So he focused the entire company on that one thing.
The whole company. Labs set up tours, marketing made videos. Everyone supported that one priority, and performance just shot through the roof.
That focus is everything. But you can't execute if the plan is a mess. Which brings us to the next law, simplicity.
Complexity is the enemy. Your plans, your communication. Everything has to be simple, clear, and concise.
They tell that story about the company bonus plan for the production staff that was so convoluted.
Oh, it was a nightmare. So many different factors and calculations. The guys on the floor couldn't see how their work actually connected to the bonus.
But the managers who designed it thought it was brilliant.
Of course they did. But it didn't matter if the engineers understood it. The people doing the work didn't, so there was no real meaningful pickup in efficiency. It was too complex to work.
That clarity is what they call commander's intent, right? Simple orders prevent confusion, and more importantly, they empower your junior leaders.
Which is a perfect transition to decentralized command. A person can't effectively manage more than, say, 6 to 10 people, especially not under pressure.
So you have to break teams down into smaller elements, 4 or 5 people, each with a clear leader.
And those junior leaders need to understand the big picture, the commander's intent. You empower them to make decisions inside their left and right limits. You give them boundaries, but freedom to act within them.
So they stop being reactive and start being proactive.
That's the whole game. The expectation shifts. A junior leader shouldn't be asking, what do you want me to do? They should be saying, here's the problem, and here's what I'm going to do about it.
All right, moving into the final section. This one sounds like a paradox. Discipline equals freedom. How does adding more rules and procedures create more freedom?
I know it sounds backwards, doesn't it? But the idea is that strict, disciplined SOPs, standard operating procedures, they actually make a team more flexible because they handle all the known variables for you.
Okay, give me the example.
So in combat, they rolled out this new, super disciplined procedure for searching houses. Before, they'd just ransack a place. It was messy, took forever.
The new way had all these rules. Designated room owners, systematic search patterns, labeling evidence meticulously.
And the team hated it at first. This will take too long. But the opposite happened.
It got faster.
Way faster. And the quality of the intel they gathered was way better. They went from hitting one target a night to sometimes hitting 2 or 3. The discipline gave them more freedom to operate.
It removes the wasted time and mental energy.
Yeah.
And that discipline has to start small, right? Like just getting out of bed when your alarm goes off.
That's the first test of the day. And that personal discipline is where extreme ownership really begins.
Which leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. The dichotomy of leadership.
This is about balance. Any strength, if you take it too far, it becomes a weakness.
Exactly. Confidence is good. Arrogance is bad. Being humble is good, but being passive is bad. You have to be a leader, but also know when to be a follower.
You have to be close with your team, but not so close that one person becomes more important than the entire mission.
And that's maybe the hardest test of all. They tell the story of a CEO, Andy, who couldn't bring himself to shut down a failing division because it was run by his good friend Mike.
So loyalty was getting in the way of the mission. The division was bleeding money and putting the whole company at risk.
Right, and that's when a leader needs the discipline to do the hard thing, to shut this hatch, like sailors on a WWII ship sealing a flooded compartment to save the rest of the vessel.
Even if it means sacrificing something or someone you care about, prioritizing the good of the whole team over loyalty to one person, that's a heavy-duty decision. So we've covered a lot. This whole mindset of extreme ownership demands humility, the idea that there are no bad teams, the need for simplicity, and decentralized command.
And the discipline to balance all those competing forces. So after all that, what's the big takeaway for you listening to this, trying to apply these lessons?
I think the final provocative thought is this. You have to accept that there is no 100% right solution. The picture is never complete.
So if you wait for the perfect, risk-free plan,
Yeah.
you'll never make a decision.
You'll be paralyzed. And that's failure. The hardest part of leadership, and the most important, is making a prompt, decisive call based on the incomplete information you have.
An educated guess.
An educated guess. And then having the humility to own the outcome, even if that guess turns out to be wrong. It's inherently challenging.
And maybe that's why, in the end, it's the most gratifying thing a person can do.